Hi, my name is Harith, and I'm from DMA43 Charlie with the alarm ID of 018876. And today I'm going to show you how to make Arandela mechanism using Solidwork. Hope you enjoy.
So first we have to open SolidWorks and then click on new and click on parts. So here we're going to click the front plane, right? And we're going to sketch and select the straight line, and we're going to sketch the foundation for this part. So here I'm just going to sketch it, the shape of it. Then we're going to click Smart Dimension. So for the bottom here, we're going to set it to 67.3, and the top and the bottom length is around 4 millimeters. So I'm just gonna adjust the sides here a bit just to get the idea of where I want it to be. Then I'm going to click on Smart Dimension and put the length of the right side to be 6.5, and same goes to the other side. Now that both length is equal, now I'm going to Smart Dimension the height of the side. So the height is going to be 3 millimeters for both sides. And now I'm going to click on features and extrude boss and click on revolve. So we're going to click the baseline, and what happened here is that it's going to create a shape out of it. So we're going to make a circular shape. Alright. Now the part is done. We're going to click on chamfer and click the end of the right side of the circumference, and we can click Control and select the other side as well, so that we only have to do it once. So now we click tick. Now the part is done. What we're going to do next is we're going to color it so that when we do assembly, we can differentiate between the parts much more easily. So how do we color the parts? As you can see from the right side, there's a there's a tab over there, right? And click on the color tab, click on appearance. Now this depends on what kind of color do you want, but for me, I'm just gonna choose metal and click on steel, and I'm just gonna pick a color from here. I think I'm going to take bronze. I'm just gonna click any one of these bronze, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on it and hold it and drag it to the part, and now the part is in color. In case if you want to make any adjustments, right? So you can just click on the part itself and click onto the revolve so that we can see the dimension of it. So here I'm just gonna adjust the dimension of the baseline. So from 67.3, I'm going to change it to make it a bit longer by changing it to 75.3, and then click done. Now we have to put it in isometric view so that we can see the best angle to see each part of that single part. Next, we're going to click on File, and we're going to click Make Drawing from Parts in order to make a drawing. So we're going to click A2 for the size of the paper, and we're going to drag the front side to the bottom half, and just drag your mouse upwards to show the upside of the parts, and the right, just drag it to the right side to show the right part of the parts. And now we're just going to fill it with smart dimensions so that we can see clearly what is the dimension for this part just by looking at the drawing itself. So for this circle here, for the right side here, there's a lot of circumference. So I'm just gonna click it, but as you can see, we cannot see the other circumference, so we can just zoom in and we can click it and ensure that we can smart dimension the other circumference. So for the second part, we can click on File, click on New, and click on Parts so that we can create a new parts for this assembly. And now I'm going to click on Front Plane, click on the Sketch tab, and click on the straight line over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sketch the foundation for this part by sketching the shape of it first. When we sketch, make sure that we start from the center of the red arrow over there, so that once you've done drawing, it has full definition. Now that I've done drawing the foundation of this part, I'm going to use a center line to be used as guidance for the rest of this part. Next, we're going to click on Smart Dimension and put in the dimensions that is missing right now. So for the length from side to side, we're going to put it as 45 millimeters. And for the bottom right of the height, we're going to put it as 4 millimeters. For the remaining height, over here we're going to put it as 29.2 millimeters. And for the distance between the drawing itself to the center line, we're going to put it as 4 millimeters. And from the center line to this point, we're going to put it as 11 millimeters. And for the gradient line to the guidance line, we're going to put it as 15, so that it is at angle of 15 degrees. Now we're going to click on Sketch Fillet and click on the sharpest point over there. I'm going to put it as 10 millimeters and click on Sketch Fillet once more and click on the top sharp point and change it to 5 millimeters so that there's a curve over there. Next, we're going to click on Features, click on Extrude Boss, Revolve, and click on that guidance line. Once that is done, we click on Mirror and we click the bottom side of this 3D shape so that it mirrors downwards. Now we're going to click on Right Plane and click on Sketch. So we're going to insert line over here in the center of the red arrow over there, so that it's in directly in the middle, and just gonna draw a straight line to the edge of the shape, and we're going to extend it once more, so that there's a difference between the outer side and the inner side of the shape. Once that is done, we're going to click on insert line once more, and we're going to drag up and then drag it back to the point. So there's this curve feature over here, and we're going to click above the straight line just now so that it completes the curve, and we can draw back the straight line and complete the shape of it. Once that is done, we're going to click on Smart Dimension and put in the dimension that is needed. So for the base, we're going to change it to 11 millimeters, and for the curve, we're going to change it to, I'd say 2.5, and then we're going to click on line and go and sketch once more to extend the shape, and we're going to trim the inside line that we drew just now. Now I'm going to click on features and click on revolve and click on the center line so that it creates a tree shape by turning the drawing that we drew just now 360. Now that the shape is done, we're just going to color it, but for this time I'm just gonna color it in a different color so that you can differentiate it from the previous part. So I'm going to click on appearance, and I think for now I'm going to click on the color based on paint. So I'm just going to find a paint over here and select on car, and I think I'm going to pick the color blue, and same as before, just click on it, hold it, and drag it to the part to color it. So you're just going to wait for it to load. And once that is done, we have to click on isometric view so that, like I said just now, we have a better view of the whole shape. When it's done, we're going to make a drawing out of it by clicking File, clicking Make Drawing from Parts, and we're going to select the size A2. And similar to the previous part, we click on the front plane and drag it to the middle of the paper, and just bring the cursor upwards and rightwards so that it can show the top side and the right side. Now we're just going to fill it in with the smart dimension. So here we have a small circle, so we can just zoom in and select it so that we can put a dimension on it. Once that is done, we're just gonna fill the other view of the drawing. So for this drawing, some of the line does not have any dimension. What I mean by that is that when you click it, there's no dimension show up. So we just move on from it. We just fill in as much dimension as we can, but for the ones that we can't fill in, we just move along to others dimension. For the third part, we click on Files and click on New and click on Parts in order to create a new part. So I'm going to click on Front Plane and click on Sketch and use the straight line and start sketching the foundation for the third part. As usual, we have to start from the center of the red arrow so that we can achieve full definition once we have done drawing. So what I'm doing here is just drawing the shape of the foundation shape of the third part. Once that is done, click on Smart Dimension and fill in the dimensions. So for the baseline here, I will put it as 4 millimeters. And for the total height, I'm just going to put it as 25 millimeters. So we're going to zoom out a bit and keep continuing filling other dimension. So for the total width, I'm going to put it as 7 millimeters. And from the lowest part of the height, I'm going to put it as 12 millimeters. Once that is done, we can exit from the Smart Dimension, click on Features, and click on Revolve. And we're going to click the longest part of the drawing, longest line of the drawing, and it will create a 360 structure from the drawing. Now I'm going to click on Front Plane and click on Sketch because we're going to create a part of it from here by sketching first. So I'm going to click on Straight Line and draw the baseline for the base shape for the small part of it. So I drew a line here and to the edge of the model, and then I click it so that I can draw another line which differentiates between the line outside and the inside. So I drew the gradient line here with using the center line so that we can use it as a guidance. When we use center line, it is much more easier to differentiate between the new lines and the lines that we drew from the previous drawing. So we're going to click on Smart Dimension and click the outer part of the straight line and change the height to 1.6 and change the angle of the gradient line to the straight line to to 65 degrees. Now I'm going to put a smart dimension for the height of the highest point to the lowest point, and I'm going to put it as, I would say, 51 millimeters. Yeah. So we're going to sketch once more by clicking on the straight line. This time we're using a normal line. Once we draw the line, we're going to draw a perpendicular line to the straight line we drew just now. So we can use the yellow line as guidance where the perpendicular is. As you can see here, there's a blue line over there. The blue line indicates that it is straight up to the point above. Now we're going to select arc so that we can draw a curve. So we click on one point over here and click on the second point. We're just going to drag it in the middle so that we can estimate how the curve looks like. And we're going to drag the point in the middle there to the line. And we're going to highlight the point to the curve and make it as tangent. Now we're going to use smart dimension and fill up the dimensions. So for here, I'm going to put it as 8 millimeters, and the line above, I'm going to put it as 90 millimeters. Once that is done, we click on revolve and click on the line over here, and it will create a 3D shape out of the drawing itself. So that is why we use a center line, so that we can make it float by using guidelines, so that we won't be confused by the lines of the drawing. Then we're going to click on front plane and view up. Now we're going to use the spline tool and draw a line here from the point of this one part to the bottom part. We're just going to adjust it so that it makes a curve. So we're going to make it vertical so that the bottom part of the line is a bit straight, and then it curves to the other part. Once that is done, we click on features, we click on sweep, and for the blue tab, we click on the circumference of the top part of the bottom shape. And then for the pink tab, so we're going to click on sweep feature, and for the blue tab, we're going to click on the circumference, And for the pink tab, we're going to click on the line we drew just now, so that it creates a 3D shape from the bottom part to the above part that we made just now. And we're going to click on options, profile rotation, and change it to keep normal constant, so that it is connected from the part below to the part above. Now we're going to click on fillet and change the value to 8 millimeters. And click on the connected part just now. Right. And click on tick. Now we're gonna click on edit sketch that we on the part that we revolved just now, so that we can adjust the sketch in order to make a hole. So from here, I'm just gonna use insert line and complete the line here, so that we can create a gap in between, and we're going to trim the line in between. So I'm going to use smart dimension between the two guidelines in order to fill in the dimensions, so that we can get accurate dimension for the hole. So I'm going to put it as 3 millimeters, and now I'm going to trim the line that connects the hole in order to form a hole. So we're going to draw a geometry line over here, so that we can use it as guidance to make the hole. So once we exit from the sketch, we can see that the hole is done by simply removing a part of the sketch. Now that the part 3 has been done, I'm just gonna color it. Click on the color tab, click on appearance, and just select a different color from the previous two parts, so that it can differentiate later. So I'm going to pick car, and I'm going to pick the color red. So I'm going to click it, drag it, and release it on the part itself. Once that is done, we're going to put it in isometric view. Then we're going to click on File and click Create Drawing from Parts and select the size A2. And we're going to drag the front side of the drawing to the middle and drag the cursor above in order to show the top view, and drag the cursor to the right in order to show the right view. And now we're just going to fill it with Smart Dimension. As I mentioned before, some of the lines here doesn't have dimension. What I mean by that is that when you click it by using Smart Dimension, it doesn't show up any dimension. So we just move on from there and we just fill it up with as much dimension as we can. For the fourth part, I'm going to click on File, New, and Parts so that we can create a new part for this assembly. Now I'm going to click on Top Plane and click on Sketch. This time I'm going to use the rectangular. Then we're going to use Smart Dimension and fill it up with the dimensions. So for the baseline, I'm going to put it as 80 millimeters, and for the height, I'm going to put it as 30 millimeters. Once that is done, we click on Features and Extruded Boss. So we're going to put it as 20 millimeters for the extruded boss. And click on Tick. So we have done the first part for the part 3, which is the stand, which is the base of the stand. Now we're gonna sketch on the above plate. And I'm going to use a guideline over here and draw a circle. And I'm going to draw a smaller circle inside. this is for the placement for the other part. We're going to see it soon. Now we're going to use smart dimension and put it the dimension for the circle. So for the straight line, for the guidance line, we put it as 18 millimeters. For the circumference of the small circle, we're going to put it as 8 millimeters. And for the widest part of the circumference, we're going to put it as 20 millimeters. Once that is done, I'm going to click on the circle and click on feature and extrude boss. But I'm going to remove the circle inside so that the extrude boss is only for the outer circle, which leaves a hole in the middle of it. Now I'm going to click on front plane and click on edit sketch. So here I'm going to take a straight line and I'm going to draw the second part out of the 3 parts for the third part. I know it sounds a bit confusing, but you're gonna see soon what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna draw the shape. So for the second part, we are basically drawing the stand. Alright. So for the first part is the base. So this second part is actually the stand of it. So I'm just gonna draw the shape of the stand. And click on smart dimension and fill up with dimensions. So for the height, I'm going to put it as 150 millimeters, and the shortest part of the height is 6 millimeters, and the width of the stand is going to be 70 millimeters. Now I'm going to click on sketch and click on arc and draw a curve by clicking on one point and another point at the bottom and simply adjusting it so that it is in the center. So now we're going to put smart dimension so that it is in the right height. So we put it as 40.6 millimeters, and the width of the curve is, the diameter of the curve is 68 millimeters. So the distance between the curve and the straight line is 6.2. And I'm going to trim the entities, use trim entities to trim the straight line. I'm going to use boss extrude to create a 3D shape out of it. So here we're going to use 18 millimeters. So that's the stand of it. Now we're going to use edit sketch from the boss extrude. I'm going to fill up the dimensions so that it is fully defined. So here we put it as 52 millimeters. So now we're going to put a plane on the highest part here. So we're going to click on reference geometry and click on plane. And we're going to click the above part of it so that it is in the middle. And now we're going to change the view of it. Next, we're going to sketch a circle similar to the bottom, and we're going to put smart dimension on it, but this time we don't have to change it because it is exactly similar to the bottom circle. So what is this is basically a holder for the top side. Now we're going to click on extruded boss and put it as 12 millimeters. Now we're going to click on bind and change it to mid plane so that the plane is in the middle of the 3D shape. Now select this part here and select edit sketch. And now we're going to use convert entities under the sketch. And we click on features and click on boss extrude. So change the bind to up to surface and click on the surface that we want to connect it to and click on done. So now it will be connected. Now we click on the connected lines of the curve there. I'm going to use fillet. Now select front plane and click on edit sketch. Select offset entities and select on the curve. Now tick on the reverse and set it to 10 millimeters. Once that is done, we're going to use a straight line and connect the curve of the drawing to the curve of the 3D model. Now that the shape is done, we can select it and use boss extrude. Change the bind to mid plane and set it to 5 millimeters. Change it to offset and also change it to 5 millimeters. So the 3D shape has been done. We're going to replicate it by using the mirror feature. So click on it and click mirror and select front plane and click on tick. Now the 3D shape has been replicated on the other side. So click on the inside line of it for the both of the 3D shape and click on fillet. Now change it to 2.5 millimeters and click on tick. So this is where it will hold another part so that it doesn't move freely. So now that part 3 has done, we're going to color it. So for this time, I'm going to use a different color than the previous two. So I'm going to select a brown color and click it and drag it and place it on the 3D shape. So for this part here, we're going to click it and click on edit sketch. And as you can see, it's not fully defined. So we're gonna fill it up with smart dimension, with the dimensions of it, so that we can achieve fully defined. Once that is done, we can click on tick and exit sketch and put it in isometric view once more. Once that is done, we can click on file and create drawing from parts in order to create the drawing for part 3, and select the size A2 paper and drag the front plane to the middle and drag the cursor above for the top plane and drag the cursor to the right for the right plane. And now we're going to fill it up with smart dimension. Now that all the parts have been done, we're going to make an assembly out of it. So how do we do that, you ask? We click on Files, click on New, and click on Assembly. And we're going to select all the parts, and we're going to line up side by side so that we can see it clearly. So here, I'm going to mate this part here to the holder over here and move it a bit downwards so that it is in place. Once that is done, we're going to replicate the red color by using invert components and click the right arrow over there and click to where we're going to place it. So for here, I'm going to click the above hole over there. Once that is done, it is replicated. So we click on tick, and now we can drag it above. Now I'm going to place the first part into the second part inside of the hole here. So we click the hole there and click Control, and we click on Mate. Once that is done, we click on Tick, and now we can move it inside of it. If we can't do it, it means that it is in fixed position. So you have to right click on it and click on Float so that it can float. Now I'm just going to rotate it so that it is in the right orientation so that we can place it inside of the other part. So I'm just going to drag it as close as possible so that we can meet it much easier later. So this is what happens when you don't place it close enough. Alright, it will move out of its place. So we have to move it much closer. So click on the part that you want to make and click Control and click on the other part and click Make. So now it will be parallel with each other. So you can move upwards, and as you can see, the red part of it will move alongside with the first part. As you can see, the bronze part here is moving freely from the blue part, so we're going to make it stick to the blue part. So we click on the bottom side of the bronze part and click Control and click the bottom part of the blue, and we're going to mate it so that it will stick together. There's no separation between both of the parts. Now we're going to connect the red part to the blue part. So select the surface of the top part of the red part and click Control and select the surface of the bottom part for the blue part and click on Meet. Now it is connected, so it won't be separated ever again. Once that is done, we're going to click on the other red part on the surface of it, and then we're going to click the top part of the blue part. Make sure that we click on the highest point of the blue part so that it is in the correct orientation. Once that is done, all of them are connected together, so it won't be separated. Now we're going to place it inside of the stand, which is in the brown color. Now we click on the curved surface of the blue stem over there and press Ctrl, hold down Ctrl and click the inside part of the stand and click on Meet. Now it is inside of the hollow space, therefore I cannot move freely. Now we're going to mate the red part to the brown part by clicking the bottom surface of the red part and hold down Ctrl and click inside of the hole of the surface and click on Mate. So here is a bit of a demonstration of how the Arandela mechanism works, is that it will spin, the blue part will spin around and the red part functions as the holder while the brown part functions as the stand. So for the exploded view, we click on explode and click on the part and we move it out by dragging the arrow to the direction that we want it to be. Once that is done, we click on done and click on the next part and move it out of the way and click on done. Next, we click on the third part and click on arrow and drag it out of the way in the direction that we want and click off done. Now the reason we click done instead of clicking the green tick is that we can do it all at one time instead of doing it one part at a time. Since this bronze part is at angle, we can click on rotate about each component degree so that we can move it out of the way at angle so that it doesn't pass through from the other parts. And then click done, and for the last part, click on arrow, hold it and drag it out of the way. And now we can click on the green tick. Once that is done, we click on this camera icon over here and we click on explode and click done. So here is the exploded view. We can play it back and change it to a much slower rate so that we can see much clearly how it's explode. Now that the exploded view has been done, we're going to move on with the drawing. So we click on File, click on Create Drawing from Assembly, and select the A2 size. Now we're going to select the front side and drag it to the middle of the drawing paper and bring the cursor upwards to show the top side view, and bring the cursor to the right to bring the right side view. And now we're going to finish it off with the dimensions.